The number one question we've all got all weekend, shout out Trap too, right? The number one question we got was, what does the split mean for us? So you guys know I love my analogies, right? I want to keep it very simple. The Apple split, let's say you had a house that was 400,000 and now it's available for 100 grand. Type yes on YouTube and in Zoom if there was a house on sale for 400,000, if you would buy for 100,000 if it was available at the end of this month. Type yes, please. This is what's happening. So Apple is split several times. I think this gives the best case scenario for why you should invest every month. For our first-time listeners, I appreciate you. I want you to invest long-term first before you do anything else. And tonight, I hope I do a good job of illustrating why. So this, once again, is why you should buy every single month. We don't know when the company is going to split, but we do know that Apple is the most amazing tech company on the planet. Type yes in chat and Zoom and YouTube if you have an iPhone. Type yes, iPhone, please. So everyone is asking me, should I buy now or after the split? Stock Club members, love you. If you guys want to join the Stock Club, go to joinredpanda.com. I think we have one of the most amazing lists in the history of the last 10 years, right? But so I'm not going to give them our price. But the answer is both. If you can afford to do both, you need to buy both. So you need to get some before the 31st. And after that price drops, buy more shares, because the more shares that you have in your possession, the quicker you will get to retirement. We can't retire off of 25 shares. The number we want to aim to get to collectively in our portfolio is 10,000 shares minimum. So now the Apple's going to go from mid 400s to 100 and eventually less. When there's a drop, we have an opportunity that has not been here since 2014. So I still want you to continue to buy every month. And Stock Club members, this is why I stressed dollar cost averaging in the 4 retirement picks that we have. So write this down. I need you to hold these for 5 years. I know everyone wants a quick flip. I know a lot of you guys see us trading in Red Panda with futures, getting great gains. I know you guys have been following Mark, right? Options, amazing. But you will not be able to beat time. Minimum 5 years. Ideally, you want to hold for a 30-year period. Everybody type in chat, 5 to 30-year period, because you cannot outwork time. Let's say you get hurt, injured, maimed, something bad happens. You will not be able to trade. The acquisition of these companies into your portfolio, you still will be able to have in your possession. So I need you to hold these for 5 years. I know you want a fast flip, but for those of you that have been in since March, you've done an amazing job, right? So I have to stress, invest long-term, because if you would have been in Apple since 2010, you'll be up 4,000 or 5,000% depending on when you got in. It's an amazing feeling to wake up, see that the market is up, and then be up several $1,000s without having to do anything. It's great when you do it on the trading side, but you have to, one, invest first and then trade, not the other way around. Don't trade first and then invest. Invest first, long-term, and then trade. So let's talk about this. Microsoft is in talks to buy TikTok. So you guys know Microsoft is bae to me. And the biggest companies will always acquire the best talent. So when you guys are asking about 5G, I personally think that Microsoft, Tesla, and Apple will move into the healthcare space this decade. Why? Because they have the most amount of money. So this is no different than what the LA Lakers have done when they acquired LeBron and AD in this era, Kobe and Shaq back in the previous era. So the biggest companies are going to buy the best talent. So when you guys are often looking for the best thing, the new best thing is probably going to get acquired by one of the behemoths already out there in the market. So look at this. This is why long-term investing is key. If you had $1,000 in Apple and held it to today, you could have grossed $12.7 million if you reinvested all the dividends and never taken any money out. I know some of you don't want to invest long-term, but for those of you that are interested in generational wealth, because I feel like this is a talking point amongst the Black community. We're not going to get generational wealth in a 2-year period. It's going to be 20 to 40 years. So if you love your kids, shout out to my parents that is putting money in their account. And I said it the other day and I posted it. Man, it's an amazing feeling for my son to have more invested in the market at 5 years old than I did at 30. Trap, I know he has a bunch of money set aside for his child. Like, parents, I am begging you, if you don't do it for you, do it for your children. And then I know you guys saw this quote circulating around social, but this guy, Ted Frank, said, I sold my Apple stock in 2001 for $60K. Now it's worth $17 million and pays an annual dividend of $137,000. I don't care what he bought with that 60. It wasn't worth the 17 that he missed on the back end, and 137,000 coming in consistently from investing in one of the best businesses ever invented. So that's my case. Please invest long term. I hope this explains why Apple and Microsoft are bae.
Yeah, no, that was a great, and thank you. That was a great.
Shout out to bae.
Yeah. Shout out to Mark on the super chat. I appreciate it. And shout out to Pete on the super chat as well. Appreciate
Pete,
it.
I'll see you. Mark, what up, man?
Shout out to Pito.
Pito, that's a fact.
That's our guy.
They both gave $100 on super chat. And I think this is interesting. We're gonna go to some questions, but before we go to questions, I just want to just double down on that Microsoft thing, because we posted about that, tweeted about it last week, and then screenshotted the tweet and put it on Instagram, and was saying that Microsoft was in talks to buy TikTok, and at the time people were saying, well, President Trump just came out and said he's going to sign an executive order. It's crazy. Like, the media is a very powerful tool, and it's interesting that people still believe politicians. I'm not a political person, so I'm not really here to take a side either way. But when they said that, it was like he's going to ban TikTok, so it doesn't even matter. I'm like, if Microsoft is interested in buying TikTok,
and they've been lobbying,
the president is not going to ban TikTok. They're like, well, he made a promise that he's going to ban it, and then today he said, well, all right, well, he said as long as the government gets a piece of the buyout, it's all good.
And I think he gave him a deadline. I think he gave him to the 15th of September to get the deal done. Which
even if they don't get it done by the 15th, they're gonna push it back. Yeah. So money talks in this world, and that's what I'm starting to realize that more and more, even with a lot of stuff that's going on socially, politically. Yeah. At a certain point, money is the only thing that matters.
Yep, my grandmother used to tell me that.
We heard that a lot.
That's a
fact. My grandmother used to tell me that politics makes interest in bedfellows. So for those of you who don't understand that concept, if I give you a cut of my deal and you introduce me to somebody, you're going to let that deal slide through because you have some interest in it. Also, election year. He does not want to go into November with the market being down, jobs being down, and Corona ramping like crazy. He wants to have a case too to say, hey, I prevented a national security breach. An American company bought him. Enjoy. So politics as usual.
And from the business standpoint, people are like, why would Microsoft be interested in TikTok? Well, TikTok is the fastest growing social media platform. It has a youth, right? Like, my 6-year-old son heard they're going to ban it, and he was like, Daddy, why are they going to ban TikTok? Like, he wanted me to explain that to him. So that tells you, like, the youth is there. But you also know that Microsoft owns LinkedIn, right? So right now, LinkedIn, obviously, they're probably going to take a loss in this quarter, right? Because businesses and not hiring at the same rate that they did. If they get TikTok as an acquisition, you now hedge your business position, right? Now you have a spot that can grow versus a spot that's probably going to take a loss in the short term. But you have a huge platform, right? How many people on LinkedIn? 700 million, something like that?
Yep.
You got almost 1 billion going into TikTok. You got a platform now that is sustainable and can compete with the Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, well, LinkedIn is actually profitable, and LinkedIn has been a good acquisition for Microsoft. A lot of people don't even know Microsoft owns LinkedIn, right? Which is interesting because people saying like Microsoft doesn't know anything about social media. They have like one of the biggest social media platforms in LinkedIn
that no one talks about.
That nobody. We spoke about LinkedIn on a podcast a few times. Yeah. LinkedIn is actually the business jewel. Everybody on business is on LinkedIn. Microsoft owns LinkedIn, and so them coming in to acquire TikTok, to me that puts a lot of pressure on Facebook, because now you got the professional aspect, which is LinkedIn, on lock, and now you got the youth. TikTok is the #1 app for all teenagers. It has 1 billion users right now, and
in a year
it's only growing.
Yeah.
And like you said, our kids, if you have children under the age of 12, like they don't even really.
They're obsessed.
All they care about is TikTok.
Be mindful though. Yep. There's some stuff that they probably shouldn't be doing, but you can't. It's unstoppable. Like a 6-year-old can use it.
Yeah. So I say that to say, I personally think that would be a good acquisition for Microsoft. I think it's going to happen, and I think it'll make Microsoft more valuable, and I think it will put competition on Facebook. It won't destroy Facebook, but it'll put competition on Facebook, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And I just wanted to say before we go to the questions for Apple, is interesting as well because of the split. So like you said, it's like I had an Apple option. I had a $400 option for September, and I sold it like 2 weeks ago at like 70% or 80% profit because I got nervous. I was up like 150, then it went down, and I'm like, I really didn't see how Apple was going to reach $400 by September.
I'm gonna throw you that oop off the board, man. I got you.
Hold on.
So Fab Five.
You know how we move, Ian. So like when he bought that option, I was like, well, I gotta give me an option. So he had the 400. I got it a couple of days later. I said, I'm gonna grab the 415. And so I didn't sell mine. And we watched that 415 go up to 300% today, man. It was an amazing thing to watch. So patience is a virtue.
Patience is a virtue, but hindsight 2022.
Yep.
I mean, there's really no way we could have predicted that the stock split. At this point, I personally think it could hit $500 by September because I personally feel like there's so much FOMO in it. People are just going to keep piling into it, and $500 by September is very possible.
It's probable.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the split happens on the 24th, right? So anybody that's trying to buy shares and it needs to buy it before the 24th in order to get that 4-to-1 split. So if anybody had a question about that, the 24th is the time you got to get.
But the great thing is, it's not even. It doesn't really make a difference. It's like let's say if it's $400 and they split it, now you just have $100, but you have 4. So it's like you're not getting any more.
Yeah.
But psychologically, people you have more shares.
Yeah. So what it does is it allows the retail investor who says I couldn't afford it at 400.
Oh yeah, that's why.
We'll buy it at 100.
You got to say something, Ian?
Yeah, and the split is on the 31st, so end of this month. But I definitely think it can hit 500. And like you were saying, it gives the average person who does not have 400 or 500 per share lying around to be able to get into the game and be a part of the market where it was discouraged. Because like Amazon, too expensive. Microsoft is getting up there, so it helps a lot that Apple will do a split right now. And also from an ego perspective, like Tim Cook wants to cement his legacy as well as having a profitable company during the recession, providing shareholder value, great returns for investors. So, because I still think they don't mention Steve enough now, but we know how corporate can be. So there's a couple of incentives for them to have done the split. But with this time, with the market being the way that it is, it's definitely a great sign. Definitely a great sign.